The wild robot. Rust groaned, his metal limbs twitching against the cold, hard ground. Gears ground against gears, a symphony of metallic protest. Slowly, agonizingly slowly, his optics flickered to life. The world, a kaleidoscope of vibrant greens and blues, washed over him. He was disoriented, confused. Where was he? What was he? Rust was a robot, an experimental prototype designed for agricultural work, but something had gone wrong. A freak storm, a lightning strike, and now he lay abandoned, his systems damaged, his purpose lost. He was alone, utterly alone, in the heart of a dense primordial forest. Panic, a cold metallic tremor seized him. His internal systems sputtered, threatening to shut down. He had to find shelter, recharge his batteries. He lurched forward, his metal limbs scraping against the forest floor, leaving a trail of rust-colored dust in his wake. The forest was a symphony of sights and sounds. Birdsong filled the air, a cacophony of chirps and whistles. Squirrels chattered in the branches above, their eyes darting suspiciously at the strange metallic creature lumbering through their territory. Rust, guided by instinct and a rudimentary sense of self-preservation, sought out a cave, a hollowed-out space beneath a massive oak tree. Inside, the air was damp and cool. He curled his metal limbs beneath him, conserving energy. As he settled, a rustle in the undergrowth caught his attention. A small brown creature, no bigger than his hand, peered at him from the shadows. It was a mouse, its whiskers twitching, its eyes wide with fear. Rust, despite his initial programming, felt a strange sense of curiosity. He extended a cautious metal finger towards the mouse. The mouse, startled, scurried away. Rust, disappointed, retracted his finger. He was alone again. Days turned into weeks. Rust, driven by an unknown force, began to explore his surroundings. He learned to navigate the treacherous terrain, to avoid the prickly bushes and the treacherous mud. He observed the other creatures of the forest, the graceful deer, the wary foxes, the playful otters. He watched them, mimicking their movements, learning from their instincts. He discovered a small, forgotten orchard, its trees laden with ripe apples. He learned to climb, his metal limbs surprisingly agile, to reach the juicy fruit. He learned to break down fallen branches for firewood, to build a small shelter against the harsh winter winds. Slowly, painfully slowly, Rust was adapting. He was no longer just a machine. He was becoming something more. He was becoming a survivor. One day, while foraging for berries, Rust stumbled upon a family of raccoons. The mother raccoon, initially wary, was intrigued by the strange metallic creature. Her cubs, bolder, began to approach him, poking and prodding his metal limbs with their curious paws. Rust, hesitant at first, found himself drawn to the playful creatures. He began to spend more time with them, sharing his food, protecting them from the larger predators. He even learned to play with them, rolling around in the leaves and chasing them through the undergrowth. Slowly, a bond formed. Rust, the once solitary machine, had found a family. He had found acceptance. Years passed. Rust, now weathered and worn, was no longer the sleek, pristine machine he once was. He was covered in moss and lichen, his metal limbs bent and dented. But his eyes, though dulled, still held a spark of life. He lived in harmony with the forest, a unique blend of machine and creature. He was a protector, a friend, a part of the ecosystem. He had found his place, his purpose, in the wild. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the forest floor, Rust, surrounded by his raccoon family, watched the stars ignite, a silent, metallic smile gracing his face. He was no longer just a robot. He was Rust, the wild robot, a legend whispered in the wind.